Всем привет, друзья! Это канал CryptoNet, и у нас сегодня в гостях Джон Изагирро. Он является лидером блокчейна Ontology в Европе. Джон прекрасный спикер. Мы поговорим о том, как Джон видит ситуацию на рынке сейчас в целом, какие-то предсказания спросим. Наверняка он нам поделится своими мыслями. Ну, разумеется, поговорим о блокчейне Ontology. Все-таки это уже авторитетный проект, там высокое место CoinMarketcap. Немало проектов запущено на блокчейне Ontology, в частности, недавно нашумевший проект MovieBlock. Давно он запущен, там майонету много времени. Собственно, есть что обсудить. Планы на будущее, конкурентные преимущества и вот это все. Стоит отметить, что данное видео выходит при поддержке биржи Bibox. И у нас для людей, которые являются участниками данной биржи, зарегистрированы там, есть отдельный приз. Что нужно сделать, чтобы его получить? Смотрите, в описании к видео есть ссылка на приложение Onto. Это мобильное приложение для блокчейна Ontology. Скачивайте его себе на телефон и видите на главном экране баннер акции с Bibox. Нажимаете на него, и вас ждет форма. Там требуется указать свой идентификатор на бирже Bibox. Если у вас такого еще нет, регистрируйтесь, ссылка в описании к видео. Классная биржа. Во-вторых, нужно указать свой Telegram. Это ваш адрес в Телеграме и быть подписанным на чаты Bibox и Ontology. И, разумеется, указать свой кошелек ONG, тогда вы получите свою долю от приза в 3000 ONG. Это не маленькая сумма, но имейте в виду, получат только самые быстрые люди, которые заполнят форму быстрее других. Разумеется, она будет проверена, но имейте в виду, что не все получат, надо быть достаточно проворным, потому что призовой фонд ограничен. Во-вторых, для всех приз это так называемый красный конверт. На главном экране Onto есть кнопочка Red Packet, нажимаете ее, и там требуется ввести некий код. Мы его раскроем ближе к середине видео, смотрите внимательно, и вы сможете получить, введя данный код, некий сюрприз. Получите случайное количество токенов. Наверняка оно вас порадует. Я лично жду с нетерпением окончания записи, тоже введу код. Код работает сутки в течение с даты публикации данного видео. И еще одна штука, мы подарим призы людям, которые попали в данную АМО-сессию, задали свои вопросы, которые мы отобрали и зададим их Джону. Бибоксу спасибо большое за поддержку данного АМО-выпуска. Мы сейчас расскажем вам преимущества данной биржи. Смотрите внимательно. Биржа Bibox — это одна из старейших бирж на рынке. Здесь зарегистрировано более 2 миллионов пользователей. При этом биржа входит в топ-5 по версии CoinMarketcap. И здесь можно торговать более чем 100 разными торговыми парами, включая, разумеется, Ontology и Ontology Gas. Можно также заметить, что здесь низкие комиссии, удобный интерфейс и достаточно много новостей происходит постоянно.
Да, совсем недавно была одна очень крупная новость по поводу партнерства с лондонской фондовой биржей, и получается, что Bibox — это первая, биржа, торгующая независимыми цифровыми активами, которая присоединилась к партнерской программе лондонской фондовой биржи. Это очень крутая новость. Вот. Ну и также все мы знаем, что экономика у токена дефляционная, каждый месяц происходит сжигание, за первый квартал сожгли более 2 миллионов токенов уже. Это также, вы сами знаете, как это работает, крутая штука. Все сервисы Bibox можно попробовать, зарегистрировавшись по ссылкам в описании. Спасибо еще раз большое Bibox за организацию данного АМ.
Hello, John.
Hello, John. So let's switch into English. Okay, a little announcement for the community. You're watching CryptoNet, so this another AMA. Today we are talking with Ontology project with John Isagira, European ecosystem leader in Ontology. There will be a few incentives for the community, and firstly, we collect your questions. There were a lot of questions from you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, our community. You did our job less complicated, so thank you very much. We choose the best 10 for this live AMA session, and the top 20, there will be some recap from Ontology. Your questions will be answered, of course, and you will get the reward. Follow the announcement and the social media channels in Ontology, in Bibox community, and in CryptoNet community. Also, there will be incentives with Onto, using Onto app, Ontology data wallet. You can download it for iOS and Android. And the first guys who will fill the form, the special form for this airdrop, will get ONG reward. You should you have to subscribe for the Ontology Russian chat and for the Bibox Russian chat, and you have to be a part of Bibox community. Thank you for organization of this AMA session, Bibox, one of the lead exchange in the crypto space. Top-5 Coinmarketcap with a huge new announcements recently about partnership with London Stock Exchange and so on. Thank you them very much for organization. So during this AMA, if you watch this AMA attentively, there will be another incentive using Onto app. We will ask John about that. So watch this. Pay attention for this AMA session. Yeah, huge announcement. Thank you, John, for your time. Yeah, let's talk about the Ontology project. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time as well. And a pleasure to be here with you all. Thank you.
Thanks.
Where do you stay now, John?
Yeah.
I'm based in Berlin. So usually I'm based in between Berlin and Madrid, Spain. But right now, Berlin seems to be the better place to be due to the conditions in Europe and COVID-19, as you all know. So yeah, Berlin is home for now. Yeah.
Okay.
May I start?
Yeah.
So
let's start.
We have a question from a user, Momfly, and he's asking, what are the main differences between Ontology and other projects? Why is Ontology better than these projects? How do you plan to dominate the market for the project like yours?
Yeah, I would like to add that we know about Ontology existence here, yeah, but we don't know much about the Ontology, about the ecosystem itself. Can you describe how can we learn more about Ontology to provide more knowledge about it?
Yeah. Thank you, Momfly. So first of all, I mean, Ontology is a high performance third generation blockchain platform. So I believe that everyone in these MA has already ground knowledge about blockchain, so I don't have to go deep into it. And we are very proud that we are not only having a core duality token protocol or the speed per second that you can achieve as a blockchain, but also we have gone deep in the fields of decentralized identity. That's our first core business. And the second core business is DDXF, which is data exchange market. So we bring not only a layer on top of blockchain, which is already a layer on top of the internet, but I think we care about what customers and end users in the 21st century gradually believe is the next and the biggest asset that you can have, and that's your data and your identity. So we're trying using tools and our speed and our technology to improve these assets, again, like identity and data. So that's our core business. And if you want to learn more about it, just visit ontologyont.io. That's our website. We have a developer tools package open for anyone that wants to learn and build on top of our chain. We have 19 channels on Telegram where we daily feed information and content on what we're recently launching. And now, and this is, I believe, one of the reasons why we are here together, is that we're planning on rolling out a business core strategy for the European Union and neighboring countries. So we will definitely be engaging more with the developer community in here, with the trading community, and also with the enterprise community in the region.
Yeah, that's great because actually we don't know much about Ontology as a project. We know the ticker, we know the beginning of
Yeah,
when there was the ICO hype. Yeah, we know about
and the
the
airdrop.
the biggest airdrop in the crypto space. Yeah, but
Yeah.
not so many people know, especially here in CIS. Knows not so many people know about a lot of Ontology. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, it's definitely understandable, and I think this is something that we definitely want to change. We have been a protocol so far that we have taken care of building the engineering and building the layer and building the technology first,
Hmm.
rather than doing marketing and branding. I'm not judging other protocols which are doing that. They're each protocol its game, but I think we have focused first on achieving a degree of advanced technology. We want to make sure that our chain offers the best capacity and the right speed and the right support to all the coders and all the developers. So this is what we took care of first. Now that we feel that we're pretty robust and we have achieved a milestone, if you wanna say it, we just recently came out with our WASM 1.0. We have the sharding
Hmm.
strategy and protocol already rolled out for the chain and for end users as well.
Hmm.
So I think I think we're ready now to do some brand exposure and a bit more branding in the ecosystem. So hopefully people are gonna know more about us.
Mm. Cool. We will talk about the technology itself a little bit later. So the question is from Starkiev, and actually I want to ask about them. You, as one of the developers from the project, I would like to ask about the token. So he asked, how is it ONT token used? Um, how do I maintain the motivation to hold an ONT token in the long term? And what is the difference between ONT and ONG tokens in Ontology? My question is, why did the project decide to use two tokens economy? What was the reason for that? And what was the difference? What the main use case? And why do we? How can we get the motivation to hold it in the long term? Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually a very, very good question. And to some degree, from a technology point of view, there are many things that you can speak about. For example, having a duality token on a chain, what allows you is that the token itself, the value of the token, doesn't have to be equal to the amount of gas that you have to incentivate on a
Mm-hmm.
chain for it to move, if you want to call it, right? To
Mm-hmm.
create the next block. So if you create a duality token, then you have the utility token and you might have the gas incentive token, which in this case will be ONT, believe it or not. Our utility token is actually the ONG, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just by having this coordination of token, dualism of the token, you might achieve a higher speed, and you might achieve that as in a development and as in a liquidity asset. It doesn't clog, the value doesn't clog or speculate itself in the chain, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, speaking about why you should hold ontology, I think that's a fair question, and that's something that no one can truly answer, regardless of their protocol or their chain. I
Mm-hmm.
think it has to do a lot with the psychology of the project, what's behind the project, actually,
Mm-hmm.
what's behind the token, what's behind the technology, who are the founders, what are they actually doing for improving the technology,
Mm-hmm.
what is the core of their business. In our case, again, is data and the data exchange and identity. So I believe that now holding the token, I would say it's not good for a short term. I'm dead honest. If you want to hold ontology token for a short term, you're not going to make much of a gain. However, if you vision the 21st century and what really means,
Mm-hmm.
then you should gamble on a protocol that is actually betting on data and identity. Therefore, this is a long-term token value. I
Mm-hmm.
would say if you are in long-term for crypto, invest in ontology.
So, do you mean that usage of dual token system? It's not it's not the from economical point of view, but the technology point of view, the technology reason, the main reason of using dual token economy, as I understand you.
Correct. I mean, there's a duality in there. I mean,
Yeah.
from the economy point of view, it might incentivize people that actually want to invest on a utility token
Oh,
or in a gas proportional
yeah,
token.
I see.
Well, that's great. I mean, depends on which part of the engineering you find yourself at. And from a technological point of view, it just allows the chain not to be clogged
Yeah,
by the utility or the speculation of the token.
yeah, I
So
see.
one token feeds the other.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, thanks.
My
And
pleasure.
my question from actually UA Elephant is as he is continuing the subject about ONG. He's telling that ONG is expensive and execution of smart contract is inexpensive too. If the ONG token became significantly more expensive, will it be possible to reduce the amount of required gas required by using?
Yeah, what will happen if the ONG price increase significantly? Will it be the reason that the usage of smart contracts will be inconvenient?
That is a very good question. I actually don't believe so, because if the price of ONG increases, then more ONT will be released just to alleviate that.
Mm-hmm.
So the component, it's like a compound, it will alleviate the release of ONG, and therefore the gas fee will remain stable. So
Mm-hmm.
the usage for a smart contract itself, it will just depend on the mechanism that you want to use on our chain. So the gas fee will remain just balanced to the usage that you're giving it on the chain. It's just a compound mechanism of the token. So there is no ground for speculation on one token or the other.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Understood.
Yeah. Before the next question, the question from us, from Vadim, what is the vision for this decentralization? Your role, maybe the project of the project. How can you how can you determine this?
Yes. What is the priority of
Yeah,
decentralization in ontology?
decentralization is a huge topic. Well, I mean, personally, I see that we have to live in a decentralized world. Centralized powers and centralized governments and centralized databases are just not secure enough and are not robust enough, and they just don't give the trust necessary that actually this generation and the future generation will need. For ontology, it's just decentralization of the data, of the compound of the data and the information that holds. It's a clear must. It's actually our goal. We will decentralize that either by the usage of smart contracts or by token mechanisms or by wallet mechanisms, but this is a core part of our business. It doesn't mean per se that you have to give your responsibility or your profit to everyone, or you have to give the access to everyone. But I believe that there are core parts of the society, such as identity and the data that holds your identity, that has to be put somewhere safe, somewhere visible, and somewhere where you can see what's going on as a human. But if you have a company, then as an organization, and if you're working with machines, as machines, on what's going on with your daily activity. So this is our core goal as an organization, just smart decentralization of businesses.
Don't you think that it can bring some negative impact? I can. What I mean, that the blockchain is a great ground, for example, for social rating, like in China, and a great tool for for something like this. Or we also there was a lot of things connected with dark market and so on.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about that?
Well, I mean, those were just elements of blockchain. So those elements that you referred to were the token elements. So the economic elements of the blockchain, which in this case is a token economy, which again is just, let's, be honest in here, it was just trading of Bitcoin and ETH, but I think it gives you a thought that actually people want to trade on different ways. Now, this was in the black market, and this is something that should be penalized and should be regulated. And sure, there are always going to be illicit activities and negative activities in the human economy, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
However, one of the things that we believe is that by stamping those processes and by enabling a smart process in those processes, again, whether by smart contracts or by the smart tokenization of businesses, I believe the information will be more reliable, and there's going to be a trust component attached to it. So I, for one, welcome decentralization very much indeed. For sure, some bad actors are going to be there, but hey, it's part of the game, and we have to learn how to deal with them and regulate them to some degree.
Okay, so why I asked you about decentralization? Because next question from the user Licont was how does Ontology compare favorable with consortia aimed at working with real business, such as Hyperledger and Enterprise Ethereum Alliance?
Well, yeah, that's a different. Those are different business layers, right?
Yeah.
So we are open source. We're an open source high performance blockchain. Whether Hyperledger, I'm still not sure that they're actually a blockchain. They're just a console management for blockchain tools. And I mean, the difference is that for some companies, they want to keep information on a more private manner, and they want to give access to some shareholders or stakeholders of that organization, whether us, we enable developers and we enable anyone that actually want to fool around or want to test out blockchain to actually build on top of our chain, be supported by our engineer core group, and be supported by the community itself. So those are totally different business units. I believe that companies right now are figuring out that maybe working for consortium might not be the most reliable source for using blockchain for a business. It presents you first slow scalability, because only you will have access to the developers within your organization. That will be the first one. So you cannot scale that fast. Secondly, I think the whole philosophy of blockchain is to actually have a trust source and to be a reliable channel of information, right? So what's the fear to actually have the information out? And actually working with an open source blockchain protocol, you can still have a degree of privacy for key and important data. It will depend on how you scale that within your company. So there are different projects, for example, on Ethereum. There are companies using the Ethereum blockchain, and they're doing a fairly good job, and yet they keep some degree of their component private. So what's better in us? Well, we are open source. You have access to a world knowledge of developers. You have access to a developer tool box that is not going to cost you a dime. And well, we're faster, so yeah, I think it's pretty simple.
Can we determine those organizations as a decentralized source of information? I don't know, in your opinion.
Can we identify those organizations? You mean decentralized organizations? Or?
Yeah. I actually, what comparing with open source ledgers, can we describe? Yeah. Can we identify Hyperledger or enterprise alliances and organizations without token, for example, but with there are a lot of them? Can we suppose that they are decentralized?
Well, think the best example right now is to think of an organization like Microsoft, right? So Microsoft, you might say that Microsoft is a centralized company, right? Well, that's something you can debate. First of all, they work on a heavy remote basis and on a heavy decentralized basis. Now, decision making might be different, right? So there is always a decision maker, and there is a layer of workers and management. However, they work on a very democratic and smart way. You might even think that they achieve consensus by decision making. So first, secondly, they are the owners of GitHub, and also they have their own blockchain, and they're rolling out their token strategy. So again, I think enterprises right now and heavy corporates are realizing that maybe working on an open source might be better. Hyperledger has achieved some degree with IBM of decentralization, but again, they created just a consortium around the idea of blockchain. So therefore, I'm always critical on qualifying Hyperledger as a blockchain, for example. I don't believe they are a blockchain. I might have Microsoft as an example. I might have WeWork as another example. I think WeWork was a fantastic idea and very decentralized and very open, yet it failed. So it depends on how you see it. In terms of blockchain, currently, I see, as in governments, I see the German government on a heavy decentralization and an embrace of the blockchain technology. In terms of companies, I might see Microsoft as a heavy contender, and in the blockchain space, I might see Polkadot, Gnosis, and Neo as very interesting projects which are pushing forward the boundaries of smart economy and interoperability.
Yeah, I see.
Yep. Yeah. Great speech. I don't even want to interrupt you. But okay, we have another question from Cool Nisix. He's asking, what do you think will be the next killer DApp, this application for the blockchain? Will it be gaming, DeFi, or something else?
Yeah, and what about the dApps in Ontology ecosystem at the moment?
Yeah, in terms of the apps, I have always been critical with the apps. I think we already have way too many apps in our life. So adding more, it's complicated. The future for the apps, I might say that it will be something related to identity or DeFi. I think those are the two business verticals where I see the apps moving faster. In terms of decentralized identity, I think something for university grades, something for driver's licenses, something for even like proper identification, like passports, that might come and roll out as a DApp. Probably will come out of a company again like Microsoft with the power to achieve that. And DeFi, I think it will definitely come out of DeFi. However, I see more a well-established app coming with a blockchain component. Think of Libra. So I will say that's more decentralized finances on a centralized scale, right? So WhatsApp is a product coming from a central economy, from a central company, yet using components of blockchain technology. This is how I see more the vision of DeFi and DApps, if you want to call it. In terms of ontology, we have actually added non-fungible token functions to our Onto wallet and of course our Onto app. So CryptoKitties is there, for example, and we have a bunch of DApps that are quite engaging, especially gaming. But there are more coming. However, I think we should focalize more on the usage of the technology itself, not the product app. So I'm very careful about the apps in general. Sorry that I'm not giving you positive news about that topic, but I'm very critical on that component.
Yeah. So
we can be positive within the subject because we remembered about Onto. So let's reveal our red pocket.
Yeah.
Red packet. So now it's
yes. Absolutely. So yeah, go ahead. If you want to make the introduction, I follow you. No worries.
I just installed Onto on my mobile device. You can find the link below in the description or in the first linked comment. And as soon as you will run it on your mobile, you will see a notification. You will see a banner with this AMA session link. And if you will fill the form as we told you, you can get airdrop. And also you can go on the first screen. You can see a red button, and if you click on it, you will see a text box, and please fill the word. What is it?
The enter code, red packet code. John, please share with us.
Absolutely. So the entry code will be ONT in capital letters, ONT like ontology, followed by Bibox with capital B and then capital RU.
Yeah.
ONT,
ONT Bibox
RU.
Okay, our subscribers can see it on their screen right now. So, and you will get airdrop, free tokens. We like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it will be available for 24 hours since releasing from this video. And one notification: if your application has old version, probably you will not see it. So don't be sure that you will update it. You will use the latest version.
Okay.
Exactly. Just make sure to have the latest version of the Onto app. And once you're there, basically all what you have to do is to click on the banners, insert the code, ONT, Bibox, RU, and that's all what you have to do. Enjoy your red packet.
Yeah. I think this is the most saturated AMA session in terms of incentives for the community. Yeah. Okay. The next question was about dApps too, but as it was from Natalie VL about how do you have an incentive to compete with massive dApps on Tron and EOS? But as I understood, there is no way.
Yeah, I mean, Tron and EOS, man. I mean, they took the market for dApps. I think that's their. You know what? I think this is an interesting question. The thing is that everyone is seeing blockchain as a competition, and everyone is seeing the blockchain protocols competing with each other. But actually, I see it differently.
Yeah, because I can explain, because there is not so much use cases of the blockchain at the moment at the space. We can see a little bit dApps, a very small part of it which only starts to develop is DeFi, and so not so many use cases, because that's why we can we suppose that all the projects compete to each other.
Yeah, I think you have a very interesting point. I think it's a very valid point. The thing is that the way I'm starting to see blockchain as a technology and blockchain as a business, right, is that there are going to be layers within the blockchain. So as the technology is a layer, the technology itself will start to develop its own layers. And Ethereum might be the perfect finance or DeFi layer, right? So the technology of Ethereum might work perfectly for the new revolution of finances. Now, when you speak about Tron or you speak about EOS, I think that's their core business. I think that entertainment is their core business. And this is something that they have achieved while using the apps or while having incredible marketing. I think this is their core component, entertainment. Our core component now is the data exchange or the advanced data exchange on the chain, but also decentralized identity. So this is our layer, and this is where we are good at. Yeah. So I think we should also start seeing blockchain in that manner.
Okay, I see. I see your point.
And next question from Crypto Jordan, still about the apps. He said, I know that Ontology has signed agreements with several companies providing DeFi services, field of decentralized finance. Can you expect DeFi projects on Ontology blockchain? Can we expect DeFi on Ontology blockchain in the nearest future?
Absolutely, absolutely, we will. And basically, because we believe in interoperability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, there are many projects being developed on Ethereum as DeFi, with the DeFi component. Now, the way our chain was built was to be with an interoperability capacity. That
Mm-hmm.
means that any Ethereum builder or any Ethereum project can actually connect with our chain and start building on top of it. Also, again, since we just released the campaign on NFT, which is non-fungible tokens on the Onto app, now basically, if you have a DeFi dApp, which was built on Ethereum, for example, feel free to add it on our Onto, on our wallet, and you know, the Ontology community will start fooling around and playing with it. So this is definitely coming. Now, from our side, I might not be able to disclose that at this time. However, we invite every builder and every developer to actually go for it. You don't have to build it on Ontology if you don't feel like. You can do it on Ethereum and then switch it over. So this is definitely possible and more than doable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great announcement. So, as I understood, it's next level of decentralization. Yes, you can even choose different blockchains for your DeFi project.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, interoperability is a big thing. Chainlink, for example, is doing it. Chainlink is doing a fantastic job when it comes down to interoperability.
Yeah.
Also, the project Polkadot has been working for ages. Cosmos has been working for ages. We also work as an interoperability blockchain. So we welcome everyone to try it out.
Cool. Let's talk about interoperability. More a little bit, because next question also from Crypto Darden was about scalability and creating bridges between Ontology Ethereum, Ontology Bitcoin blockchains, and so on. What was the stage of the development at the moment? Where the Ontology project, where is Ontology project moving at the moment? Yeah, so please share with us.
Perfect. Yeah, I understood the question fully. It's also very good. Again, our core business remains decentralized identity and data exchange or advanced data exchange on the chain. However, we have an interoperability criteria within our chain. That means that other chains can actually collaborate or become nodes, if you want to call it, or build their technology on top of ours. This is more than doable, and we have built, or not we, I always praise myself if I did it. Actually, developers of our chain have done the great job. So this is definitely possible. We actually have an alliance with Chainlink, and we keep talking with Ethereum developers to actually start trying out our chain, building our chain, and the connection between both of them is more than possible. Again, on Onto, on our wallet, Onto, it's possible to add non-fungible tokens in the operability of it. So this is already working. This is where we find ourselves at. We welcome all of developers and engineers out there to try it out and see where that leads us.
I see. In your opinion, will we end up with some kind of internet of blockchains where Cosmos, Polkadot, Ontology, and other blockchains connecting with each other in a huge ecosystem?
It's hard to say. I think it's very hard to say. It depends. I think the test. I think right now we are enduring the test of blockchain. So right now, this COVID-19 is actually a big thing. I think we're going to start seeing the evolution of the technology, if the technology is actually possible to deal with it, to compete against centralized and well-established systems. And in terms of an internet of blockchains, sure, this might happen if the technology keeps pushing forward, if developers and engineers keep building on top of blockchain, and if the token reward and the token economics remains something that people feel attracted to, the psychology is there. If not, then we're going to have some problems in there. But it's too early. I think the blockchain technology itself is on a very early stage still.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about scalability. Is the layer 2 protocol for Ontology suitable at the moment? Do you need it?
Good question. It depends on the use that you want to achieve. It depends also on the communities that you want to attract. So if we speak about interoperability, I'll say yes. If you speak about advanced sharding or the forking of our chain, well, sure. However, if you speak about only doing blockchain as a service for enterprise and corporates, I will say maybe that's really not necessary at all. So it depends on where the community wants to take the project and where the community wants to take the technology. Right now, I think it's going to be doable just for improving the core tech, the exchange of the data, and most probably the token speed and capacity.
What about sharding in the Ontology ecosystem, in the Ontology protocol at the moment?
Sure. We actually came with a sharding announcement, I think a couple of months ago. I will make sure to send you the info later so you can share it with the community. So we find ourselves right now in sharding 1.0 and aiming for 2.0 by the end of this year.
Yeah, okay. Because we are waiting from Ethereum or something like this. Yeah. And
I think everyone.
Yeah.
I was afraid you will have excellent sharding because you already said that Ontology has all the stuff. It's fast, it's robust, it's a lot of developers. Great.
Yeah.
It's good that you have something in front of you, not already achieved.
Yeah.
Okay, my somehow corresponds to this COVID subject what you told. Probably, I hope our subscribers now stay home and they keep themselves in a good shape, and probably they are watching movies now from internet. And my question is about Movie Block, this great project on Ontology blockchain.
Yeah.
Actually, my friend called me Jen is asking, can I find out more details about Ontology collaboration and assistance with KMP player, decentralized development? And what is Movie Block online cinema? How is Ontology blockchain technology applied in these projects?
Yeah, and why do you need it? Maybe they need your protocol, your platform.
Yeah, it's a good question. So we signed recently an MOU with Movie Block. Shout out to the peeps of Movie Block. So I think there are many components when you're dealing with data and a platform that holds not only entertainment like movies, like Movie Block, but also the users itself. So a kind of platform, we're still in business development with them, so we cannot reveal all of the information. But one thing that I can say is that this will protect not only the identity of the end users, but also the company itself on trading the data of the movie units. So it goes from copyright to the end user data. I believe that this is critical. Where can you watch Movie Block? Well, I think they're heavy on the Asian ecosystem. So in South Korea, they're actually quite big. In Southeast Asia. So if you are in that region of the earth, then I will welcome you to use it. But we are already in talks with a competitor in India, which is quite big as well. So we're planning on basically integrating our blockchain capacity to their platform. Yeah. And apart from that, hey, I'm still a big Netflix user, so nothing wrong with using Netflix in a centralized database.
Yeah, I would like to ask you about risks. In your opinion, what the main risks for technology at the moment? A huge question.
Oh man. No. I think we have to ask ourselves that because we work in that field. Well, the first risk that I see is a panic of the society itself. In terms of, when humans find itself in times of crisis, you are not going to think about technology itself. You're going to think about basic resources. You're going to think about food. You're going to think about toilet paper, and you're going to think about the safety of your children and your family and the health. Now, for taking care of that, you're going to need core technology. You're going to need very simple, easy technology. And I believe that centralized systems such as Amazon and Netflix are doing a fantastic job. They're easy to use. They are very user-friendly. They have a decent UX and UI, and everyone understands the business behind Amazon and Netflix. You pay, you watch a movie. You pay, you get your pizza or you get your shoes, right? So it's very easy. I think the problem for our technology, it's too difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Our technology is still way too difficult to understand. Our technology is still not sexy enough. And sadly, I haven't seen a good evolution of Bitcoin recently. So actually, Bitcoin came out of a crisis as a solution. And in another crisis, which we're enduring right now, it's actually not behaving very well. So my biggest fear is that everything that we have been working on is actually not in the right timing. Might be that blockchain is not for now, might be in 10 or 20 years when the society is more advanced and when the needs of technology are there. But now, very critical. I think still we behave as very irrational beings. So that's my biggest fear. It's just the psychology of the human and also the lack of assets and investment. I'm very worried that the world will start reducing investments in projects such as identity and the preservation of data. So that's lack of investment in human psychology. Those are my two biggest fears.
Oh, isn't the crisis especially financial crisis or crisis of traditional financial system, which is happening at the moment? Isn't it an opportunity for the blockchain space, for the blockchain projects, for cryptocurrencies, and so on?
It might be. Again, it might be the case. However, if you look at the latest poll results and at the latest data from the New York Stock Exchange and the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, the first asset in which all hedge funds and all ETNs and ETFs sold, got rid of, deleted, was Bitcoin. That was the first asset that they just burned. They didn't care. They were just like, sell it. We don't want to hear about it. So that means that cryptocurrencies are not an asset of high value, nor a means of reserve. And we thought, well, Bitcoin will be the next gold. And we still think that Bitcoin will be the next gold. Therefore, we're going to be good. However, I'm not seeing that evolution. And the market and the data is actually showing that that's not the evolution. So yes, it might be the case for cryptocurrencies in the midst of a crisis, but we need to work harder and we need to educate more the society on the benefits of the technology.
I agree in the terms of education that this is the main thing we should do at first, to educate people. I totally agree.
100%.
Yeah. So, Vadim, do you have any other questions?
We'll ask for coronavirus outbreak because it's still. I think you asked about for this.
Yeah.
So, Coon Leaf Fighter. The coronavirus outbreak took the world by surprise, and global superpowers struggled to combat the pandemic. Can you tell us how Ontology contributes to the fight against the invisible enemy that is trying to destroy the human race?
Yeah.
Oh my
such an apocalyptic question.
That's an apocalyptic question indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the way not only Ontology but blockchain protocols in general can work will be to cooperate with associations, cooperate with regulators, cooperate with governments, cooperate with companies, and try to make the data more out there, more visible. So actually using blockchain for stamping mass production, for stamping digital assets exchange, for stamping human identity, for stamping healthcare records. I think that should be fantastic. And I think, again, we come back to education. We haven't educated those entities and those people and those companies enough. Otherwise, we'll be on a very different situation. So I think Ontology is working on transparency and on building trust with these companies that I mentioned before. Are we doing enough? I don't think so. Is it easy? No, it's not, because not everyone knows blockchain. So we're trying to do our best. Actually, we're right now sending a package of masks to our friends and partners of Bitnovo and Bitsa in Madrid. We're sending a bunch of masks, and this is what we can do. And we're going to be doing the same with our partners in Italy and here in Germany. So, doesn't sound like much, but there's not much that we can do.
Okay, I see. Vadim, do you have any questions more?
John, just because you are living in Berlin and you're from Madrid, do you see any interest from random people to the cryptocurrencies? Maybe somebody asking you how to buy crypto now. When do people in Germany and Spain realize that cryptocurrency can be an alternative to current fiat system?
Yeah, some kind of the solution of their problems.
I mean, right now, because as I saw,
Yes,
now buy Bitcoin
actually,
is coming to cool trends now. So do you see this in Europe?
yes, absolutely. I think there is a big interest in the society to some degree. And I think from institutional investors' point of view, I think still interesting, yet is not interesting enough. So again, we have to educate more. But in general, I think there's always a question, Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin? How to get Bitcoin? Will Bitcoin help me? So the biggest, the most clear example that I can put out there is the country of Venezuela. Then Venezuela has been enduring a crisis and for years, and they have been one of the first, if not the first country that actually started using not only blockchain technology but crypto as means of savings and digital assets. And they have come out on a very fast and speedy way. So I always bring that example. In midst of crisis, of course, people are always going to look for it and might look for a safe escape. Will it work? This is what we're trying to work towards. I believe so. I believe cryptocurrencies might save part of the economy, but we need to educate more the society.
Okay, and I think we're lucky enough that you came to this sphere, because I see you're a great speaker.
You're a great speaker, great companion. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you're a great journalist and interviewers yourself. Yeah, give yourself some credit.
Thank you. Guys, what I would like to say at the end, so all the other questions which we don't have enough time to ask John, there will be some recap with your questions. There will be additional announcements with those who won the reward for their questions. Also, don't forget about our incentives through Onto app. Download it, all the links in the description and in the first comment. So please join the community, the Ontology community and the Bibox community. Thank you very much, Bibox, for organization and for the support of this AMA session. All the links about Bibox in the description section, below. Thank you, Bibox, once again. Thank you, John. Thank you for your time. the situation is really complicated. That's why thank you for your time. We really appreciate this.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate it very much indeed. Thank you, Bibox, for this invitation as well. And download Onto. I welcome you all to do that and fool around with the app. You're going to like it very much indeed. And keep believing in crypto and keep believing in decentralized identity. That's the future.
Grab NFT tokens right now.
Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to our CryptoNet community. Really appreciate you for this. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Bye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a beautiful night. Thank you for your time very much.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, thank you very much, John.